Why do we like what we like in the look of our guitars? Let's talk about it. So as musicians, when we're asked about a particular sonic quality or the sound of something, whether that is a song, new mix, a guitar tone, or otherwise, we can use pretty descriptive terms as far as top end, low end, muddiness, crunchiness, and we can usually come up with reasons why we don't like those things. The top end is too harsh, as an example, or, the snare drum is too loud and overbearing, or that guitar tone is too fizzy. But why do we like the actual shapes and looks of the guitars that we play? Seriously. Have you ever stopped and thought about why you like a particular style or flavor of guitar? I have. Now, as guitar players, a lot of us would love to sit and argue that it doesn't matter what a guitar looks like, as long as it feels and sounds good, I'm okay with it. And I think that's simply not the case in most of the playing community. Let's just be honest. I have always thought of the guitar as kind of an extension of ourselves and how we express ourselves. Really, there is a multi-faceted thing going on when we are performing or playing a guitar. We are expressing ourselves through the sounds. Of course, that's a no-brainer. That's very obvious. However, I think physically speaking, that's also a form of expression as musicians, and I love that. Now, one's particular tastes in the physical appearance of a guitar, electric, acoustic, or otherwise, is very subjective and is a very personal thing. Now, for me, this is my signature Music Man Stingray RS, and because I was playing some pretty aggressive music, I liked the dichotomy of having something that seemingly didn't look that aggressive. I didn't want some metal black guitar. I wanted something that kind of evoked, for me personally, the old Soundgarden Black Hole Sun video, or the Everclear Santa Monica video where Chris Cornell and Art Alexakis played old sparkly Gretsch Silverjet guitars. And that was an element of nostalgia that I like being reminded of and feeling when I play my own guitar. That is a deeply personal thing. However, some other folks may want to evoke that they want to kill people or their absolute love of cocaine. It just varies from player to player on what they are trying to express with the look of their guitar. Now, I do think there is a huge nostalgic element to our initial taste in the instrument. And I'm talking about when we first pick up an instrument and we first start flipping through the guitar magazines or going onto the websites and seeing players that interest us on a deeper level than just, oh, that's cool. When you really start to dive into your own musical artists and discover who you are as a player, I think there is a bit of nostalgia forever. For the rest of your life, there is a bit of nostalgia. When I look at this R9 Gibson Les Paul, I think about Billy Gibbons, ZZ Top, and Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. I don't think about Polyphia when I think of this guitar, if you know what I mean. Polyphia is fantastic. However, they don't evoke the same feeling for me that I get when I hear Led Zeppelin. When I hear Led Zeppelin, I hear this guitar in relation to, how I feel. Now, part of my love for the Music Man Stingray is this encompasses the best of, this is literally the greatest hits of Leo Fender. This was an original 70s model, by the way, from Music Man. This is not a new design. This was made by Leo Fender, and it has a lot of the hallmarks that we know and love him for, particularly the offset part of the bottom of the body. This really always looked to me like an amalgamation of a Strat, a Fender Mustang, and a Jazzmaster, which is another reason why I love my Jazzmaster. My Jazzmaster makes me think of my initial discovery of Kurt Cobain playing his Fender Jag and Nirvana when I was 14 years old. Like, that's what this guitar reminds me of. Am I playing that style of music on this guitar? I am not. However, the offset body for this is deeply nostalgic for me and a particular period of my life. But for some of you, maybe you have a deep nostalgic attachment to your first concert, which happened to be Slayer, and you really like BC Rich guitars, or you really like Dean guitars because your first show was Pantera, as an example. And then that will forever set you off in the path of, you know, explore Dean ML styled guitars as a player yourself. And I love that. Now, finding a middle ground between super modern and super vintage, I think right in the middle is Paul Reed Smith guitars. Now, for me personally, I will always forever think of the Down music video by 311 in the mid 90s when I was 16 years old, and seeing Tim Mahoney play a red Paul Reed Smith, or Daniel Johns from Silverchair playing his green custom 24. I think it was 24, maybe it's a 22, I can't remember off the top of my head. However, key PRS players in the 90s remind me of this guitar when I played this guitar, but other people might think of some other obvious choices. Carlos Santana, Ted Nugent, the damn Yankees, I don't know. But for me, this Paul Reed Smith reminds me of a really, really great time in my life in the mid to late 90s. So to circle this back around, my point in getting you guys to think about why you like a particular design in a guitar is because I think often we get tunnel vision when it comes to the things that we actually like aesthetically in a guitar, and to always be open to change and new designs and updates as you see fit. Just be open to considering new stuff, whether that is an aesthetic design in a guitar, a finish option, or a feature like a neck shape. Maybe check it out. Maybe revisit your tastes every once in a while, because you will often find that maybe you like something you didn't necessarily like as a young person starting out 10, 15 plus years ago. If you felt like supporting this channel any further, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.